Did you know that over 70% of people feel that wellness is a luxury and not a lifestyle? Today's guest, Sharon Vendle, is on a mission to change that specific perception. Sharon is the founder of Serenity Wellness Spa, and she really is a beacon for wellness that goes far beyond just treatments and into a whole new approach to living just a simply healthier life. With 15 years in the wellness industry and a lifelong passion for making wellness accessible, Sharon's story is one of resilience, transformation, and dedication. Welcome to the Wickedly Branded podcast. I'm your host, Beverly Cornell. I'm the founder and fairy godmother here at Wickedly Branded. And today I'm excited to introduce Sharon. She's really here to talk about her wellness journey and how she helps people embrace wellness as a lifestyle and not just something that you just have as an add-on, which I think is an important differentiation for most people. Sharon, I'm really excited to have you here. I am a fan of wellness. I have recently lost 40 pounds. Talk a little bit about how you got started and how you ended up here and why this concept of wellness is not a luxury, but something that really should be part of your life.
So I embarked on an entrepreneur journey after working corporate world for almost 20 years. I was one of those who worked hard, passionate, but got burned out because I didn't incorporate enough wellness into my lifestyle until the last maybe 4 or 5 years. When I was traveling a lot for work, I started getting regular massages, and I noticed what a difference massage makes, not only physically, but mentally. It's your time to disconnect, just relax, and just enjoy the experience, be in that present moment. And if we can do that throughout our day, even just by taking walks or taking a yoga class, that's a way to incorporate wellness into your lifestyle that does not have to cost a lot. We specialize at the Wellness Spa in treatments. Some people will come in every month, some people every 2 weeks. It depends on where they can fit it in, but it's all up to everybody to prioritize. I had to prioritize. I made time to go get a massage. Now I make time to get massage and facials because as we get older, we're fighting against that plot. And so now I've been doing regular facials for probably the last 10 years. It really is accessible for everyone. It's just how you frame it in your mind and what you consider wellness. For some people, it's having coffee with their friend.
I have my massages intentionally on Monday mornings so that my week starts with this incredible investment in myself. Time to just, I guess, prepare myself for the week just so that I have a really good week. I used to do it on Fridays or Saturdays, and now I actually really enjoy my Monday morning. I had an injury in 2013, a hip injury where I had to have major surgery. And it's really the only thing that helps my stiff back and my IT band is a mess. So I love my massage therapist. She's amazing and works miracles for sure. So it sounds from the application that you put in for the podcast that you went through a pretty big transformation after a divorce that really helped shape where you are today. About that journey and how it led to here.
I think, of course, that happened when I was in my late 30s. And I realized I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. That's been an aspiration because my parents were entrepreneurs and my grandparents were entrepreneurs.
Wow.
And so it's like you have that in the back of your mind, but trying to figure out what it is you really want to do, what you're passionate about, doesn't always come early in life. Sometimes you follow the path you're on, going to college, getting a degree, working through college, staying in that field after college. And that's what I did. But something about getting a divorce, and I'm fortunate, it was on very amicable terms, still friends. So there was nothing bitter about it. But coming away from it, I just felt like I am free to live the life that I want, like to do anything I want. And so within about 4 years, I had figured out what it was. I went back to school for a massage. I actually just did it out of interest because getting massage regularly while working made me think there is something to massage and this whole wellness and self-care. And so I started going to school part-time. I enjoyed the whole program. I completed the whole program, got my license. In the process, my instructor had said, you really do have a healing touch and you love skincare. You've worked in skincare. Why not consider esthetician school? But to do that, it is a full-time process, 5 days a week, 8 hours a day. It's not something you can do part-time. So at that point, I had to make the decision, do I quit my job and go back to school to get another certification? And I decided I'm not getting any younger. why not give it a try? If it doesn't work out in 3 years, I can always go back to doing what I was doing. And that process of being on my own, it was very liberating, empowering, and also just a time to really figure out what it is that you really want in life and taking that time to reflect and see how I got there and where I want to go.
And honor it for sure. Oh, in the early days of the spa, was it easy? What was the most challenging thing? And then how did you navigate through it?
So the most challenging thing is I started off in a partnership. I thought it would be wonderful to do a partnership because there's somebody in it with you and someone you can rely on, someone you can bounce ideas off, but also someone to really, it does mitigate some expense and the initial startup by having a partner if you both can contribute financially to it. And so initially it seemed like the right decision. After about 1.5 years, 2 years, I realized maybe not the best decision. It was the best decision at the time, but looking at the long term, we were very different people in different places in our life. She was primarily esthetician. I was massage and esthetician. Due to life changes, they actually moved further away from the city. And so for her, the commute was much longer, which also kind of made her like not come to the spa as often. And so then I started feeling like this partnership, if I keep doing it, may become very uneven in the time and effort that you put in. And then also in what one can contribute to the business. I was, or I am 10 to 15 years older than her. And so a lot more experience, a lot more things to bring to the table. And so it was a very interesting experience. I worked with an amazing business coach who had me envision, like, where do I see the business in 5 years?
Yeah.
And so I did this exercise in explaining what my dream vision was and detailed it out. And then she said something very poignant to me. Nowhere in this vision have you mentioned your business partner. Yes. And I was like, oh my gosh. She goes, you always have the answers within you. And if you take the time and really sit and think about it, the answers are there. And so it was a tough decision because we were friends, and that decision to not be partners anymore also affected that friendship because she felt like it was you're all in or you're not. And so we parted ways. I wish her well, and I've gone on with the business. And it was a hard decision because I rebranded, I changed the name, and in some ways, it's like starting over. I just felt we got to the point, it's been 3 years, we've been profitable. And my coach, who, if I can give a shout out to, Versa, she's amazing. She's got a best-selling book and she's coached a lot of people. She said, you've done it before. It's actually going to be easier the second time around. And it was easier in the sense that I knew the mistakes that we've made in the first 3 years, and so you can do it better. I really wanted to focus on going more wellness and not so much on just superficial. And so it really was going deep. Detox programs, really helping people figure out the root cause. I now work with a naturopathic doctor next door. And a lot of times root cause of skin issues have to do with gut or hormones. Having someone there right next to you to refer clients and really work together to help people get the full benefits and healing is the direction that I've always wanted.
I love the idea of healing from the inside out and not masking a symptom with just some kind of prescription or whatever, like getting to it. And I had an injury in 2013 with my hip. They kept wanting to give me pain meds, and I kept saying, no, you need to fix the problem. I do believe that there are modalities out there that are amazing that maybe aren't traditional medicine. All that should be explored and be an option for people. I don't always do myself good with my own world because it's hard when you're busy and you're a mom and you're running a business, and my husband is active duty Army, so he deploys. So I'm single parenting sometimes. You get a lot to give yourself that kind of time and energy with good food. I do grow my own food. I do believe, but I also am not the best because there's many times we're hitting the fast food on the way to practice. It's hard to do it all the time, but I do when I can. I do put the better things in my body as much as possible. The things that I saw, and a question I always ask, because there's always a challenge, but what is always the thing that makes you feel the most natural and joyful about your work too? What's the thing you love the most? Hey, I know you're listening today because you're ready to take your business and your brand to the next level. But if you're being honest with yourself, maybe even feeling a little bit lost, but you've got this big vision and you know that you're meant to make a bigger impact. But sometimes it's so hard to know where to start and which direction to take. Does that sound familiar? You're not alone. So many purpose-driven entrepreneurs feel the exact same way as you. That's why I created the Clarity Quiz, a simple tool that helps you get to the heart of what's holding you back and shows you where you need to focus next. No more second guessing, no more spinning the wheels, just clear, actionable insights that give you the confidence to move forward, that next best step. Taking the quiz will give you a deeper understanding of your brand's true potential and what's standing in your way. And the best part, it only takes like 3 minutes, but the results, they could transform the way you approach your business and brand forever. So if you're ready to stop feeling overwhelmed and you want to start showing up with purpose and clarity, go to wickedlybranded.com and take the quiz now.
I think the thing I love the most is when you get client feedback, like the positive feedback that you've helped them, whether it's physically from aches and pains or mobility, or whether it's skin, especially clients who have acne. That can really affect self-esteem. But then there's also the other side of it, aging. That affects self-esteem. Helping someone feel comfortable in the fact that it's okay to age gracefully.
Yeah.
I don't do Botox fillers, any of that, but it's totally fine. Each their own. If that's what's going to make you feel the most amazing person, it is the client feedback. It is knowing that what you're doing is making a difference.
I think women so often, their work is about making that impact. Like we live to help others. We have a very nurturing sense of the world, and we're caretakers, and we love that idea of helping others as much as possible in our business choices. But it's not uncommon to say that. That is the joy of it. Now, if I got this right, I know you have a retail background, but do you have a marketing background?
So my education was marketing, bachelor's degree in marketing and entrepreneurship, started the master's program in industrial organizational human resource. So always around people and service. When I discovered like how much a difference wellness and treatments can make in one's life, I felt it would be really an exciting, enriching, fun thing to do to be able to help other people de-stress, because I know what a difference it made for me to de-stress. And not everyone wants to take the entrepreneur journey and still hugely successful in their corporate life or working for someone, but they need a way to reduce stress. And so we have a lot of clients who come in just for that reason. And sometimes it's work travel that really does take its toll. But it can be just honestly daily life. And I have really come to realize, like over the last 15 years, how important it is what you think and what you feel. Like those affect everything in your life. And so, you know, how you view things in life affect how you feel. Some people can handle multiple things, and the kids, the business, couple of startups, and other people are just overwhelmed with just the business or just having a child. And so everyone is different, and we all find a way to navigate this journey that we're on. In the process of doing the business and having this life change, I also got breast cancer. And I did not understand like how it happened when I was living, I thought, my best life. I was eating clean, healthy, exercising. I was doing all the right things. I loved the life that I had. And I was like, how did this happen? And then you realize like there are so many things out of your control.
Absolutely. And genetics, toxins.
Yes. And so I went down a deep rabbit hole to try to get to the root cause of that. And in some ways it was futile, because you start overanalyzing the things you were eating and things you were taking. But because I've had symptoms of eczema for basically almost 15 years, I just kept looking further and further into what could be the root cause, because I didn't understand like how I grew up not having it, and all of a sudden it just happened. And at first I thought it was the work and the business and the stress, but it ebbs and flows, and it does not always ebb and flow with stress. And it's interesting because after 15 years and then working with my naturopathic doctor, and it may have come down to something as simple as mycotoxin mold exposure.
Oh, jeez.
Like my apartment had not necessarily any visible signs of it until we had a water leak. And when we had the water leak and they opened up the walls, they realized there was all black mold in the wall. I just left my apartment and counted on everything to be fixed properly. And then you realize may not have happened because symptoms did not necessarily go away. And in the process, I moved out of my apartment just to test it out to see if symptoms would go away. Yeah. And it did. Pandemic was also an example of probably the most stressful time, having your business closed for 8 months. But I didn't stay in my apartment. I was staying at my boyfriend's house and did not have any eczema during that period. And so I was like, but it didn't dawn on me that there was anything wrong with my apartment because I didn't know about the mold in the walls. Yeah. So there are certain things you don't know, you don't have control of, but then you also have to let go. And I think I've had pretty good outcomes because I exercise, eat healthy. It could have been a lot worse. I wasn't living that lifestyle.
Pounded on top of that. Yeah, for sure. The wellness industry, I feel like it's actually fairly competitive. It's quite competitive. With this marketing and retail background, give you a little bit of a boost. But what's been your biggest challenge kind of standing out in that space and ensuring that your message specifically connects with your ideal clients, like the people you want to work with and help?
I think the most challenging thing in probably most business is hiring and retaining the right people.
Staffing.
Yeah. And the best people, because that is what drives the business. That is what retains the clients. And when we went through pandemic, a lot of our team dispersed. Either they decided they couldn't stay in San Francisco, or some people change industries because it was shut down for too long. 8 months of not being able to do your work was really tough. And so we had to start pretty much almost brand new team and rebuild that team. And in that process, I realized it's like starting a business again. And we decided to expand a couple of years ago. And when you expand, it's like starting a business again.
You're really good at this now, though, right?
But it's, do we really love putting ourselves through it again? I'm now 55 and I don't feel like I want to keep starting another one and another one, because people do ask you, like, since you've been successful, don't you want to have a second location, a third location? I'm like, no, because there's something to be said for being happy with exactly what you have and the life you have and appreciating what is, because sometimes the growth brings on more stress and it requires so much more from you that unless you have a really excellent team that wants to grow in that direction too, it is tough.
I'm reading a book right now, and one of the chapters is about what I call the vanishing finish line. That women are notorious for setting goals and then moving the goalpost before they've even achieved the goal. Oh, I'm close. Now I'm going to do this other thing. Well, I've got this successful business. Now I'm going to take a second location, or never actually fully stops. And creating goals that have containers. Not that I limit people, but I want people to understand that sometimes you don't need to have $1 million business. And that seems like a number you need to reach. But for most women, that's not the life-changing thing. May only be a $300,000 business. That's a life off. It wasn't enough for you. Like you've arrived to be successful. You don't have to hustle. Just be satisfied. And what does that feel like? So the vanishing finish line is actually something that I talk about that I think so many women struggle with, because this is the first time. You said your parents were entrepreneurs and your grandparents were entrepreneurs, but this is the first time where women are really entrepreneurs on our own. We feel that it's our first time. Again, what we're made of, that we can do anything that they can do, our mark, because of where the time and place that we have become. So I love this idea of I can be satisfied and I don't need to just keep pushing myself until I die.
So 2025 was a year that the business became a 7-figure business. But the irony of it all is I didn't make more profit.
Oh, yeah.
I put so much into the business to grow it, to make it better, that it's like the revenue was up, but the profit didn't reflect the same increase.
Interesting.
And so that's where towards the end of the year, I really had to step back and say, is it worth it? And why am I doing this? I'm in the process of some change and transitioning some things to make it a better business financially, because there's been points along the way where I thought maybe I should just sell it, because I have been getting approached. There are companies that want to sell it and they want to just turn it into something that they know is going to be a financial profit maker for them. You know, and I held off on it because I said, I know what they're going to do. Like they will really cut costs, and that includes compensation. And so I hesitated on it, and I'm trying to make the business again to the point where I love it. I can keep it indefinitely, because that's the way when I started it, I thought it's something I could do indefinitely. I don't always have to do the physical work, because as I'm getting older, it's like you feel it in your joints and massage. But if this business can sustain and run and everyone can benefit from it, even I will benefit from it, of course, having some passive income, then it's worthwhile having indefinitely. We all have to decide, is it worth it? Because it's still, no matter what, takes your effort. It never truly is 100% passive.
Absolutely. Yeah, you still have to give it some love. No one's going to treat your business the way you treat your business.
Mm-hmm.
Your operational manager or whatever isn't going to look at it the same way you do in some way.
Yeah.
I do have a wand, and I always ask everybody on the show if there's one marketing or branding question that's just been burning for you lately, if maybe I can help you with it. Anything you've been struggling with or questioning or wondering about for your business that I might be able to give you some insights on?
The biggest struggle, I think, is everyone saying that social media is so important to the business. I think for a year and a half, I've been working on social with a social media manager, and I told her it hasn't translated into actual clients that we can see, so dollar-wise, but I'm willing to give it the time that it needs, because it doesn't happen overnight. But really, how important is social media for a business?
So you do have to have a presence, and you do need to be where your people are. So if your people are professionals, maybe you need to be on LinkedIn versus maybe it's the wrong channel. You can do 3 to 4 posts. But the thing that I see the most, the mistake I see most companies make, is they're doing what everybody else is doing. They're contributing to the noise. They're not really being individuals, and maybe like you're not showing up enough there because that passion comes from you. So you being more visible is more of a connection. And then really leaning in more into the stories of your customers, really featuring those testimonials, those case studies of people who have had a complete, maybe their eczema's under control now, or the acne, or their mobility is so much better. Like really leaning into them to tell your story versus just throw them a picture of a serene room ready for a massage. That's great. The story side of it from you and the story side from the customer is the missing piece when they're not doing very well. So I do think it's required, but it doesn't have, you don't have to be everywhere. A little bit of a presence is fine. Picking a channel and going hard and all in, your ideal customer is at. So if they're all professionals, it might be this place. It might not be Instagram or TikTok or Facebook. Go in and learn that tool, nothing else. But a year and a half is a long time. Seeing results, some results and some engagement that you buy now.
The analytics show like definite results.
Good.
Engagement is up, followers are up. And so the analytics all have improved. And honestly, it looks great. She's doing a good job on the aesthetics. Everything looks great.
Good.
I know everyone's saying I need to be on it more. Yeah. That was my hesitation, because I said I didn't want the business to be about me. I wanted it to be about the people in the business. Of course,
you can even feature more of your team. I feature my team and I have them do videos and have them talk about their favorite services. They're the reason why they do what they do. Like I want them to talk about that. You still need to be visible about the passion behind the business, the story behind the business, why the business matters.
Okay.
You do need to show up a little bit. I hear you so loud, because that was me 2 years ago. The work should speak for itself. I don't want to be the front because I have a whole team of people. I'm not the one doing everything. It's still my vision and my dream, and it's my passion and my purpose. And that needs to be reflected in the work that I do. And since I've shown up more, it's changed everything. Really would. I told my clients for a long time to do that. right? I wasn't doing that because the cobbler's kids never have shoes. And once I made a decision to be the best case study for my clients, I said I was going to have Louis Vuitton shoes, is what I said. Really what I ended up with was a pair of iridescent flats because I ended up with my pairs of shoes. But the idea is that I did it my way. What made it feel comfortable for me? So it doesn't mean you have to do some trendy thing, Sharon. Do what feels comfortable for you because that's when it's going to feel most aligned to you and how you are. But yeah, I think the story aspect, we live in a very AI world now. And your story is what makes you human. Your team is human and your clients are human. So the more humanness you can really infuse into your social media, the more it will stick out now than ever because of AI.
And do you think just asking clients to, like any of them will come into that?
So I do a little bit differently because all my services are like this or on a Zoom call, which for the listeners who are thinking about how to incorporate testimonials, I actually do have a whole episode on testimonials, but here is an idea for you. So after every service I give, I ask a few questions about, hey, how was it? What was it like? And then after I say, it was amazing, it was awesome, like whatever, I usually am recording anyway. I'll just say, can I use that as a video? And they're like, yeah, it's really natural. There are services like Vouch, which is great. One of our clients uses it. The naturopath that we work with who uses it. They send a link. We put in some questions and we send a link to them, answer the questions, and we can edit it and put it together. That's really well for them. It's not just, oh, it was a good job. Like, what was her symptoms? What did Dr. Jill say to do? And then what has been some of the results that you've seen? We really want to see that transformation. The same thing with humans as well, and really try to get that transfer. Not everyone will share. Everyone should be given the opportunity to.
Yeah. Beyond the feedback that we request after every service, they do provide feedback in writing, but nothing like video, nothing to necessarily post. Our social media person does post
those words perfect.
Yeah. But actually having someone talk camera.
And it doesn't have to be perfect or super polished. It just needs to be real. I think when it looks a little bit less polished, it feels more authentic anyway. They're just people pressing record from their kitchen table or from their sofa, and they look very real. The other thing you could do, it depends on your clients. You know, some clients, other clients are pretty chatty and open and whatever. You could have an iPad there and just say, hey, can I ask you a couple questions? Can I record you right now? Really, it is knowing your customers in some way and who's will feel comfortable. And also who has had the most transformation. They're going to sing your praises all day long, right? Because they've had such a significant transformation, I'm thinking most likely they're your ideal client. Having them talk about it. The other thing that's really powerful about testimonials, there's two other things that I think are great side benefits. One, it's really affirming to the staff and to you, what you do is matters. So it's really good for morale for your team. Those videos, have those testimonials. But the other side that I do is I actually throw all of my testimonials into my chat GPT. My AI use some of the client's words in my marketing.
Okay.
Headlines as my, like, whatever, my hooks on my social media, things like that. So that might be something that's really powerful too for her to create like a Google Doc, put all those testimonials in there, and then have it help her with some of the messaging for social. Your clients speak like your other clients, like potential clients. But using their words and not some professional way of like, this treatment's going to get like, I'm saying.
Yeah, it'll connect and resonate better.
Absolutely 100% will connect better when it's human words. And so AI is great for analyzing it, picking the best bits and helping you sift through all that. Those really powerful things, those sayings, those phrases that can really hook people, and speak to their pain points, speak to what their ultimate desire is. So whether it's the stress-free or like I finally feel like I can breathe or whatever, I'm confident about my appearance, whatever the result is, the transformation is, it could be very powerful. So my biggest tip is to put as much humanness and story in it's social media, not flat media. So the humanness and the stories as much as possible to connect. And then also, I don't know what your call to actions are. Always ask for the next best step. Oh, make sure like you don't want to leave the person guessing. They need to know what they need to do next to get that result, whatever that is. It's a book a session, presentation, whatever that is for your business. You need to be really clear about how to work with you. A lot of entrepreneurs and social media managers that are not as experienced don't always ask for the sale either, like the next whatever. And I think you need to be really clear about your goals. So impressions and likes and follows are great. A lot of those are vanity metrics. They're like real metrics. Let's say one of the goals is organic social visits for example, on your Google Analytics, needs to be increasing by 20% a month or whatever seems doable for. And I would track your social media manager. What is a good number here?
Yeah.
Like,
Realistic.
there are benchmarks. What's an average benchmark for a wellness spa on growth? Let's talk about it. And ask them, that's a metric you want to go after, not just impressions. And because you could be getting a lot of followers, maybe they're not your ideal target, not really the people you want to. So like for me, one of my main numbers is my newsletter signups, as I can nurture people with offers and things like that ongoing. They're not buying or ready right now. They will be ready at some point. And maybe that's Mother's Day, or maybe that's a birthday, maybe it's an anniversary or a celebration for work or whatever. That might be the time where they actually buy. So for me, and social media is a rented space, right? It's not, you don't own those names. You don't own those fans. My newsletter list has probably been one of the most transformative. So be really clear on what you want the result of social to be. It's a brand awareness thing. Absolutely. Yeah. It also should speak to other parts of your funnel and not just the awareness side of things, for sure.
Yeah, I feel like it's all about quality. Never went after just followers. It's just most of the time before we use a social media manager, I would say 80% of the followers were clients.
Loyalty of the community. That's a great goal you can have. So now you have some new people coming in, which is great, which is what you want.
Yes.
Now, what are you doing when they come there? What's the next step? Does that help answer you? Does it give you some ideas?
Yes.
I always want to give some idea. And I always like to say, too, if you get some results or something, let me know, because I am always curious on how these little adjustments, and sometimes it's just a minor adjustment. It's just a minor adjustment of a few things that could really make a big difference. Rather you show up 3 or 4 times a week, really strong on the best platform, a post every day, twice a day. Like really good quality, really good stories, really strong human. And then those CTAs, the goals and CTAs that will show that this is working or not working. And then a lot of times, one other tip, a lot of times social media managers, I see this, is I think they have to create brand new content all the time. There is content that works. You should repurpose that content. If you have a lot of engagement on a post, repost it. And going to remember that they're not.
Yeah.
Go back over the last year, what's really worked, and do more of that. Don't reinvent the wheel. Look at what's working and tweaking that way. I'm a mad scientist in that sense. Change a picture. You can just do some testing, because sometimes one color really performs. All of a sudden you'll see like a pattern. Like when we use this color, people engage. Like really minor, especially a good time to do an audit and to see what's working and then do more of that.
Yeah. All right.
I love that. So one of the last questions I ask is, what does it mean to you to be wickedly branded? How do you think you show up wickedly branded? And what tips would you give to our listeners to be more wickedly branded?
So I think for me, it would be that our brand is associated with the best in what we aim to do. So if it's wellness, like we're top of mind for wellness.
Absolutely.
You want to be top of mind as the place to go for your service or what you're offering, product. Yeah.
What you want to be known for.
Yeah.
And going all in. Yeah. Mm-hmm. How do you think your spa or you and your team show up like that?
We are constantly learning new skills, learning new ways to improve, going to the conferences or talking with people to see what is of interest right now. Manual lymphatic drainage has become huge in the past 4 years. And it's not just for therapeutic reasons. It is also a post-surgical. And I myself, having had mastectomy, did have manual lymphatic drainage afterwards. And it does make a difference in the healing process and reducing swelling. Yeah. So it is keeping on top of whether it's what product, what ingredient is really making a difference in skincare or in body care, what services are making a difference. In terms of longevity, the peptides are going to become huge, more than supplements even maybe. And so everybody's jumping on the peptide train, but then in talking with my naturopathic doctor, the source of the peptides are critical. And not everyone's going to be using the best source, AI, for healthcare, for longevity.
Absolutely.
The things that you learn about in terms of, we one time brought in infrared sauna. Oh, everybody wanted infrared sauna, LED, light therapy. So there's so many products and services that are always changing. So being open to new things and then also testing it to see what the results really are.
Yeah. One of our core values is dynamic, which is we're always looking at how do we do things better? Tools are better. How do we optimize better? We're always looking at the ways. We don't necessarily say jump on a trend, but we always say look and see what's the most beneficial. Is that something that's going to good for the client, or is it just like a flash in the pan? So I'm navigating that and trying to learn that as well. So dynamic is definitely one of the core values of Wickedly Branded for sure. Do you have a tip for the listeners to be more wickedly branded?
I think the best tip is taking time for yourself to figure out what it is most important to you, and then going all in on that, personally or professionally. We have to take the time to figure that out, because sometimes what we think is important is not really what's important. Like me going after that 7-figure goal, it was just a number. But really at the root of it, for us, it's making a difference in people's lives. And if we can do that, then we're happy. We've achieved.
And you've even said too, it's a number, but if you're not profitable, who cares? That number means nothing.
Or profitable enough to make it worthwhile, because it has to be something that's really worthwhile. Unless you just have all the money in the world and you can just do things just because you love it, which, yes, we all want to be there. Like, I would love to just work with the SPCA or animals and just volunteer. And I have done volunteer work throughout this process, because I always feel like if you can give back, like, it's good to do it as you're going on the journey instead of when you've reached a certain point, because you may never reach that certain point.
A vanishing finish line. Yep. Well, chief finish line. Okay, Sharon, where can people find you, your website? Where do you hang out the most on social?
So website is serenitysf.com. Social is serenitysf.ig. So we're mainly on Instagram.
Do you have any special offers if we go to San Francisco? Is there something that we should definitely check out at the spa?
Definitely the latest treatment is Peter Muir's illegal therapy detox wrap. So it's a wrap, but also it has manual lymphatic drainage. And it's been a very popular treatment, especially after the holidays.
Yeah, I need some for here. I'm really working on that.
You can do manual lymphatic.
I do.
Yeah.
That's a recent thing that I've been doing. Like I open up my here and then I start to do some of it. And, and even like my legs and stuff like that, I do a lot more exercises based on some drainage even in your legs and things like that. Yeah, but I want to just get rid of that. That's my one thing. But this has been so nice. Thank you so much for joining me today, Sharon. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
I really hope that today's episode inspired you in some way, gave you some new ideas, but really I hope it made you think of something you can take action on today, like one little step, putting a story of yourself out there on the internet, or it's thinking about that time you need to take to really get to know who you are so that when you show up as your brand, you are the most aligned. Because here's what I know for sure. Your work matters and the world needs to hear what you have to say. Marketing isn't just about visibility. It's about impact and meaning. It's about connecting with the right people in a way that feels really true to you. So I want you to keep showing up, keep sharing your brilliance, and keep making magic in the world. And hopefully maybe do it a little less stressed out. For real stuck, know that you don't have to do this alone. People like Sharon and myself are here to help you turn your spark into a wildfire. But until next time, I want to dare you to be wickedly branded.
Wow, what an incredible conversation we just had. I hope that this episode lit a little bit of a fire under you to finally bring your brand to life in a way that feels true to you. Remember, clarity is the spark, but activation is that fire and flame that keeps your message and your visuals and your strategy aligned, and the confidence that follows. So does that lovely thing called momentum that you've been waiting for. So if today's episode, if you loved it, make sure you are subscribed to the Wickedly Branded Marketing Podcast so you never miss an insight or a conversation. Until next time, dare to be wickedly branded.